No? Okay. Okay, all right. Hi, everyone. Hello. So several things I wanted to do. Today. So basically, what we're mostly doing this in the coming weeks is using loops. So we're going to be using for loops. We're going to be using while loops for just problem solving. So it's going to be less kind of learning syntax and more figuring out how do I use this to solve a particular problem. Okay? No. All right. So the other thing that we want to do is I want to do a few kind of more fun problems. So I'll tell you how to solve last time's interview question, and I'll give you a new one. The new one will require some kind of introduction. So first, let me do the solution. So if you remember, the task was swap the values in A and B without using temporary space. All right, so if you remember, you could in principle do something like temp is equal to A, and then now that you don't worry about overwriting A, you could say A is equal to B, and then finally you'll say B is equal to temp. Or we could do something like A comma B equals to B comma A. This looks like it's not reusing temporary space, but really it is, because what you're doing here really is you are taking this, you're creating this BA object, and then you're putting it into AB. Doesn't count. So let me check that OBS seemed to be broadcasting. Is anyone unhappy on Discord? Okay, seems okay. So, all right. So how do we do it without temporary space? And for now, we'll assume that A and B are floats. Well, if A and B are floats, what you can do is you can say, okay, so A is equal to A plus B. And that was kind of the hint for where to start. From here, you can just logic it out. Okay, what does it need to be in order for it to work? So we'll keep track of it like this. So we'll say that initially A is the same as old A. So old A is like the initial A, and B is old B. So now that A is equal to A plus B, well, B is old B, of course. We haven't changed B, but A is now old A plus old B. Cool. So now that we have this, we can say, okay, what should B be? So if I want B to eventually be old A, can I do it? The answer is yes. If I do this minus this, then B would become old A. So that's what I'll do. So it's the new A minus the new B, which is old A plus old B minus old B, so old A. So A remains old A plus old B. We didn't change it. But B has now become old A. Oh, it's frozen again. All right, Discord, can you see the stream now? Okay, it seems to be moving here. Okay, cool. Okay, all right. So that's like this. So now what should A be? Well, A would be old A plus old B minus old A. that will be. Right? So we'll say A minus B. And now that means that A is old B and B is old A. Done. And we haven't used any temporary storage. Right? So that's great. You might say, okay, like what if it wasn't exactly, and what if it wasn't exactly floats, or if it was floats, is that a problem? And in both cases, potentially yes, right? So one problem with floats is they have a fixed number of digits. So that means that potentially if you add two floats, it might be that the very last digit would become imprecise. So that might be a problem. So with floats, might get rounding errors in the last digits. What about with integers? With integers in Python, this would work, right? It would exactly work. The one problem here is it's kind of cheating, because with Python with integers, so you add together two large integers, well, you are using more space than before. Right? So potentially you're adding like 500 and 600, and now you need a 4-digit number if you're storing decimal numbers. So works, but A plus B potentially needs more space than A or B separately. So it's not exactly like you're not using temporary space. You might be using more space in order to store A plus B, because you might need more digits. With floats, no, because floats have a fixed number of digits. It's just that you might not be precise there. Am I frozen again? Oh man. Okay, hopefully now it works. What about now? Should come to class. Okay. I will try to use, so I think it's like this kind of setup specifically with this screen. Yeah, okay, it's working. Is not great, so it freezes sometimes. So okay, so that's that. Could you do something like this with, for example, strings? The answer is, well, so by default with strings, of course you can stick two strings together and then use that in order to figure things out. Now that would take up space as well, right? So if you say kind of the new string is the old string plus one old string plus another old string, that takes up more space. You could in principle, and that's actually doable, say, well, no, what I'll do is I'll go letter by letter in the string, right? So I'll do something like I want to swap ABC with like XY. And the way I'll do it is I'll do this plus this letter by letter, right? So I'll have some kind of A plus X representation, and I'll have some kind of B plus Y representation. And then once I have A plus X, B plus Y, C plus nothing, then I'll figure out the subtraction, again, letter by letter. This requires more stuff than what you know right now, but it's in principle possible with strings as well. Okay, is it frozen? So, well, I was writing on the blackboard right now.